Hello and welcome to my channel if you're just seeing me for the first time. Today I'm going to be going through all the books that I read in March and then the books that I'm hoping to read in April. I say hoping because I never actually know if I'm gonna read the books I said, but I actually did pretty good this last month, so this was like a really good reading month for me. I read Before We Were Strangers and oh my god, this book, okay, it's a second chance romance and there's a 15-year gap in between them like being together for 1 year, senior year of college, and then 15 years goes by because something happens and then they find each other again, like in this like crazy coincidence situation. 15 years goes by all because of a miscommunication. That's like the thing that kind of made me want to literally just tear all of my hair out and throw this book at the wall. But it wasn't like a ridiculous miscommunication, but that was what was scary about it. It was like a miscommunication that I feel like could have happened, like it could happen to people, and that is just crazy because I can't believe like 15 years. And then there's like so many other little things too though that happen and make it all that much more sad, honestly. But it's not like soul crushing, it's just like that feeling of lost time that's like a bit tragic. I felt like okay, what's the guy's character name in this? Matt. His name's Matt in this. I feel like his vulnerability in this book is very reminiscent of like Elliot from Love and Other Words. So if you like that type of character where they're just like wears their heart on their sleeve a little bit, I know now why everyone was recommending and talking about this book, because it's a really good book. Like if you like second chance romances, I read Namesake and this is the second book in the Fable trilogy, I mean duology. So there's two books I believe and they match up. Look at the faces. I really loved Fable a lot when I first read it, and I still think that this is a really good book. It's an amazing YA fantasy. Like if you just want to remember why you love YA fantasy, you should read this. Also, I feel like this gives summer vibes because it takes place like on the ocean and there are like pirates in it and it's just so much fun. I love a good pirate book, a good ocean ship boat book. I don't know why, but something about like the water and the ocean and being on the ocean, like it's crazy because that's actually like one of my biggest fears, but it sounds great. The ocean in general is just so scary, but reading about it is so fun for some reason. Namesake, pretty darn good, but I listened to the audiobook, so I feel like it kind of took a little bit away from the experience because I kept getting distracted throughout it, and it had been so long since I read Fable. But listening to it, I still was like following along with the plot, and I think it was a good book, so I would still recommend the series. I'd recommend to read both of these because they're really good, but I do wish that I had read the second one right after I read the first one. That's like my only kind of regret with these books. In March, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is one of the best decisions that I made. This was so good. I am not like a thriller, mystery, murder type of person. I really like get scared. I just like imagine scary stuff, and I like it feeds like that part of my imagination that just like terrifies me, and I just feel so paranoid, so I can't usually read them. But I love like the mystery books, and I love like there being the cool mystery and like high stakes, you know, so I really wanted something like that. So this book, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, was the perfect like mix of those things. The main character in this has to do a school project, and she decides to do it on this like murder case a while back where they like didn't technically ever really solve it. It kind of reminds me of the Pretty Little Liars vibe because it takes place in a small town, but like there are all these people living there who are keeping all of these really dark, deep secrets, and you just would never expect them to, but there's like so much that the main character is like uncovering as she goes through. She's trying to see if the person that they say like had allegedly killed her actually did it. I really just like wrote whenever I was like, oh my god, wait, what if this happened? And I just wrote all of my guesses in the margins, and it was so much fun. Felt like I was playing a game and reading a book at the same time. It was the best. I recommend anyone to read this. I did listen to the audiobook and I really recommend it because it was so good. I just was like cleaning and listening to this at the same time. I was feeling very tempted to like just cover my wall in like red string and photographs. That's how I was feeling. Okay, and then another one of like this is like, that was one of my favorite books, and then this is also one of my favorite books of the month, A Fate of Wrath and Flame. Oh, it was so good. This is like an adult fantasy. A Fate of Wrath and Flame is by the same author that wrote The Simple Wild. This is like a small town romance book. This is a fantasy for all the people who really love a good romance plot and a fantasy, because the romance in this, amazing. Also, if you like enemies to lovers, I'm thinking about it and I'm just getting excited. There are vampires, there are like witches, like not really, but like there's like elemental powers. There's just like so many little cool things, and there's like kings and queens, like all the fun stuff, you know? There's ball gowns, like there's fun things. It's good. I just want people to read this. I don't know. I want to convince you. The second one I think is A Curse of Blood and Stone, and I read that one too. I listened to it on audiobook, so I don't have the physical copy because I literally could not wait. I was like, I need to hear it now. And I listened to this one on audiobook too, and I really liked it. Yeah, it was just so good. It was just so good. And the second one was so good too. And I cannot wait for the third one to come out because it's a trilogy, and I think it's coming out in September. I need it immediately. I need it to come faster. Say You Swear was, okay, first off, it was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Like, I knew it was going to be long because it's kind of like thick book, but it actually did feel like it was pretty long. At the same time, like, I wasn't like, oh, when is it gonna end? I really enjoyed reading it like the whole way through. It's pretty like emotionally intense because it's just like a lot of crazy things that happen. So yeah, just make sure you're like emotionally prepared before you read this, but I overall like really enjoyed it and liked it. This is one of the better love triangles that I've read, in the way that like I felt like both of the ends of the love triangle were really kind of in my head. They were like developed. I wanted her to be with both of them at like different times. It was kind of difficult also in that way because I was like sad, you know? So a little bit sad because, you know, someone always gets hurt in a love triangle, and usually like everyone gets hurt. It's painful, but it's good. I feel like that book kind of reminds me of like The Fun of Summer, because there's like a really cool found family in it, and they like go to the beach and stuff. So I feel like that'd also be kind of a good summer read. I started listening to Icebreaker as an audiobook, and I honestly would not recommend it as an audiobook. I feel like it's one of those books that would be better just like reading it. This is a college sports romance. She's a ice skater, he's a hockey player. Someone from the hockey team did like this prank on the ice skating rink or something, and so now they have to share an ice skating rink. For me, this kind of reads like a Grumpy Sunshine, where like she's grumpy, he's sunshine, but at the same time he's also kind of like a stoic character sometimes, so I feel like he could also be like grumpy. It starts off and she like really doesn't want to be in a relationship because she's really focused on skating, and that's just what she's thinking about because she wants to go to the Olympics. He is kind of like pursuing her, but not at first. He's kind of like a player, but like just doesn't really intend to settle down. But he does end up pursuing her, and she's like, not done with this one yet, so I guess I'll just see where it goes. So far, it is not my favorite. Like, I don't really love it. I just kind of think some parts are like enjoyable and fun, but like I'm not really a big fan so far, but maybe it will change my mind. Those are all the books that I read in March. So now for the books that I'm hoping to read in April. I have a lot because of course, you know, I'm gonna be overly ambitious and set the bar very high, but you know, these are like hopefuls. Okay, of course, the second book to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because like I'm not finished, you know? Good Girl, Bad Blood. I'm very excited about it. I cannot wait. I really want to try to find the audiobook because the app I'm using, for some reason they don't have like the second or third book on there. I also need to get the third book as well because I'm definitely going to be reading this entire series. The first book ended and there was like a couple of loose ends, and I was like, okay, this is not over yet. And I just can't wait to uncover what is actually happening. Just such good vibes from these books. They're just going around solving mysteries. And there's a little romance too. Another one that I'm so excited for is The Stolen Heir. Oh my gosh. I have been waiting to read this one. It's been on my TBRs. But like, it's one of those ones that just feels like precious to me. Like, I just can't wait to read it, and it makes me excited thinking about reading it. I just haven't actually gotten to reading it yet. I just can't wait to get back into the world of The Cruel Prince. What is the world actually called? Elfhame? Oh yeah, the Novels of Elfhame. So that's what it's called. I know that I always say I'm going to read this one and I never do, but like I'm hopeful for this month. I feel like it's going to happen. Like I feel like it's gonna happen. I really wish there was an audiobook that I could listen to. I want to know what's up with it, you know? Like, I've seen so much about it. I want to know why everyone loves it so much, because I'm sure it's amazing and I just need to get myself to read it. This one's on my TBR yet again since I've read the first book in the trilogy. This is from the Furyburn trilogy, and it's the second book, and I just need to read it at this point. I don't know when I'm gonna read it. I just know that I'm going to read it because I do really love the story so far. The first book of this trilogy though, Furyborn, that book was like a 5-star read for me. I love that so much, so I feel like I'm gonna love this one too. And I have the third one to read as well. Dear Amelia, this I believe is a childhood friends to lovers. This one's pretty tiny, so I feel like I could just blow through this one real fast this month, and it sounds really interesting. I'm pretty excited about this one. I feel like it's gonna be good, and I've heard good things about it, so I love a good childhood friends to lovers. In a Jam, I have no idea if I'm gonna read this month. This is just one where like it's one of the last few romance books on my physical TBR, so I'm like, might as well read this now. I weirdly right now feel like I kind of want to read this actually, but I know it's like a small town romance, and this girl moves back to the town that she grew up in to inherit like a farm or something. She needs to get married within a year, and then this guy who had a crush on her back in school, he lives there and helps her in some way, and they probably, I think maybe this is like a marriage of convenience. He is a single dad to his niece and has his hands full running the family business. That old crush is the farthest thing from his mind until Shay returns to her hometown and turns his life upside down. So yeah, that is what it's about. I think it's gonna be cute though. Another one that I want to read this month is 10 Past 2. I'm excited to read this one. It's a romance, and it's another one that's pretty small, so I feel like I could read this pretty quickly. This is about a girl who is a race car driver, I believe, yeah. But she gets in an accident to where she can't walk, and then it's a romance with a guy who cannot see. Just as her world begins to break down, she meets Kenley, a blind man hanging on to hope, trying to adjust the changes in his own life, struggling to forget the words he can never take back. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one. Sounds very cute, and I will probably read this month, I think. Last but not least is This Vicious Grace. This is a YA fantasy. I've heard a lot of good things about this one as well. It just sounds really cool. I have like a feeling that I'm gonna love this one. Also, look at how cute like the inside of this is. Oh my god. That is so cute. This is one of the cutest books ever. The color. 3 weddings, 3 funerals. Alessa's gift from the gods is supposed to magnify a partner's magic, not kill every suitor she touches. Oh, Juliet from Shatter Me vibes. Desperate to survive, Alessa hires Dante, a cynical outcast marked as a killer, to become her personal bodyguard. We love a cynical outcast. I'm guessing his dark secrets is that he's one of the people who's trying to kill her. Is that true? Because I would love that. That sounds amazing. I want to read it immediately. Like, that made me so excited just reading that. Okay, so those are all the books that I want to read in April and that I have read in March. By the way, all of my stuff is linked, like all my socials and everything, and my Goodreads is linked in the description. And yeah, have a good day. Love you.